one of the most obvious differences between team-based learning and other approaches for teaching is that students take on a major part of the responsibility for covering the basic content. But that doesn't happen automatically. You have to do something, and in this case what's done is that you hold them accountable by using the Readiness Assurance Process, and not only accountable, but you create conditions to make sure that it happens. And it involves a series of activities in which the first one is they take an individual test, they hand in their answer sheets. At that point you give them an answer sheet for their team. The team retakes the same test. They get immediate feedback on it, and then they get a chance to do appeals for the questions that they haven't gotten full credit on. And they do that, then it becomes open book. So that gets them focused back into the material at exactly the point where they had misunderstandings. And then finally, I get a chance to say the things that I want to say based on my listening to what's been going on, and respond, and also be able to respond to their questions. So I don't have to say very much, and what I do say, number one, they already know they don't know, and number two, as a consequence of that, they're interested in what I have to say, and also they're interested in what I have to say, partly because it isn't very much. Now, what you'll see in this case is you'll see several different examples of those readiness assessment tests, and you'll see the graduate class, the same one that we did the grade weight setting with. You'll also see a large undergraduate class with approximately 120 students in a tiered classroom taking the A readiness assessment test. The other thing you'll see differently is that although it's critical that they get immediate feedback on how they've done, otherwise they can't, it just inhibits the learning. You'll see two different ways of doing that. One is using a Scantron machine-scored forms. The other one is one that I just learned about during this actual term in which we took these videos, and that's an if-at process, and that is on a question-by-question basis. They scratch off. They choose an answer, and then they scratch, like you would go to McDonald's and win a prize. Well, they scratch to see if they found the right answer, and if they haven't, then they have to rethink the answer. They have more information. They rethink the answer, and then they scratch off another one. They get full credit if they get it on the first try, and only partial credit if they get it the second try. But what that does for them is it really makes them listen to each other and work very hard to get it right the first time, which really helps both learning and team development.
You better be starting there. Correct. Sweet. 31.
Oh, it's okay. We're going to see. We need the right one.
Yes!
4 to 6. 4 to 6 true. It's either A or B, but I put A.
I put A also.
I think I remember distinctly they talked about an educational organization.
It's definitely B.
All of these because, in Morrison and Reimer was the one on the autonomy and on the hierarchy.
Because that model specifically had on there those 3 criteria for the short run. So I don't think we'd get an appeal ground if we hedged.
Let me stop you for just a second and make an announcement. Group 3, just a second. Let me make an announcement. Just for fun, would everybody move 2 places to the right within the circle where you're now sitting? And don't move your chairs from the position they're in for at least 2 more questions. Okay? Move 2 places to the right within the circle you're in.
One of the barriers to groups becoming teams that very frequently occurs is they don't manage their physical space right. They'll allow, especially if you've got fixed seating, of course, they'll allow one of their members to be in an isolated position and allow them to stay there. And by the nature of the people that are involved, it's very common for the person to be sitting at the end position, if you will, to be a person who's shy in the first place. People who are not shy tend to get right in the middle. One of the ways that we deal with that and help them is occasionally, if we see that occurring, we'll simply stop the action in the middle of a readiness assessment test and say, okay, all your teams, look at how you're sitting, and if you envision yourselves as a circle, trade places, so you move 2 places to the right or 2 places to the left, so that it takes the person who's been in the end and sits them right in the middle. And then after we say something like, now, I wanted to spend just a minute talking about it. If there was a difference in the interaction between the 2 times that we had you sitting there, before and after we had you move. And often people learn from that simple experience that they need to do a better job of managing physical space.
This might be a good
I guess
one
we
to
could
appeal.
put none of the above and then say, well, because of the current problem.
Because instead of having like one central manager, you distributed it to everybody.
That makes sense. I don't know what I was thinking there either.
How many appeals can we do?
As many as you want.
Oh, as many as we want?
Sure.
Okay,
You're group 4? Yeah, you did it quickly. Yeah. Ooh, you don't have much to appeal.
Just that one.
Uh-huh. So you got 50. That's pretty impressive. And just run it through.
How do I do it?
Just lay it on there, and it'll take it.
Oh.
And you got 48. The two that you split. Yeah, the 2 that you split. As soon as the representative of the group has run their answer sheet through the test score, then they post their scores, and at that point, their score for the group. And at that point, then it becomes open book, and they can create appeals for any question that they've missed either entirely or partially. The value of that is it gets the students right back into the text at exactly the point where you want them, and that's where they've had some misunderstanding. After the appeals are done, and I have them hand in the appeals to be graded later, then I get a chance to talk with them about any questions that are left over that they want me to address, or in some cases, based on my listening into what's going on the test and what's going on during the creation of the appeals, then I may have something that I want to say to clear up confusion.